Vic Tafer did a mailbag at The Athletic, and he said something that you've been saying a lot. Derek Carr has 1 year left on his deal, so here's the question. Do you give him $150 million plus and tie yourself to him shortly after putting your family photos on your new desk? And I have, in all caps, serious doubts that the Raiders will do that. He would go on to say more about that, writing that Mark Davis, I don't think Mark Davis would mind taking a step back next season if it meant he'd have a better chance of winning big in the future. He mentioned McDaniel's work with Matt Castle, among other things. So maybe there's a thought that the Raiders don't need to spend $150 million plus right now. That's Vic Tafer mailbag in The Athletic. That's who I was quoting.
Well, I do agree with him that signing Derek Carr to a 5-year contract and the amount of money you'd have to pay him, you are at minimum tied at the hip for 3 seasons. Like, you're just in bed with him. And that seems...
But you're not going to have a tradable contract, you're saying, even if you wanted to trade it?
Well, because you wouldn't be able to sign him for less than guaranteed like $120 million. And you just do the math, right? You don't... The salary cap hits are so massive. You saw it with Carson Wentz. It was such a crazy thing that happened with Carson Wentz 2 years after he signed the contract, and same thing with Jared Goff. But they ate it. But that's not an ideal... They never signed those contracts with the thought that they were going to trade him in a couple years.
Right.
To me, if they were going to sign him, they would kind of be all in with him.
Especially not the Eagles. The Rams felt kind of trapped when they gave Goff big money, right?
Yeah. He had just made the Super Bowl as their starting quarterback. I think the Eagles thought that his ceiling was so high, and it just turns out he got shitty. It was kind of one of the bizarre things I've ever seen with a football player. But I agree with Vic. I mean, the way I would do it, if Josh and Ziegler asked, what should you do? Because let's face it, Mark Davis has had a front row seat for every single game, every single pass Derek's ever played. And like every single coach that's been around him, he talks to him all the time. Like, he's got a Rolodex of Derek Carr information. Josh does not. Josh can watch his clips or whatever. It's not the same as living through the Derek Carr experience, right? Who again, is a good player. You know, the pushback, though, is, let's say you put him on the open market. And to me, you could easily get probably 2 1s and a 2. Just there's too many teams desperate, right? You would just be able to get the football team, Tampa. Teams would trade. Too many coaches trying to win now.
I mean, Vikings might do something.
You'd get the Stafford deal immediately. But they already got Cousins.
Well, I know. But I'm just saying they got a new coach. Maybe Kevin O'Connell likes Derek Carr. I don't know.
So you just trade Derek for Cousins?
No, they send Cousins somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, you could get a lot for Derek Carr. I think we know that. But then the counter is like, well, who's playing quarterback for you? Now, if you wanted to do Cousins straight up for Derek and a 1 or something, and you're just like, well, we can get off Cousins in a year. We don't have to extend him. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Vic, that second quote I read was he might be willing to take a step back so he can win big going forward, right? That's part of that quote. Like, maybe you're not taking a quarterback back. Maybe you're doing whatever. I mean, they just did Mac Jones and Cam Newton back-to-back years, Josh.
They don't have. I mean, Mariota's a free agent. They wouldn't have a quarterback.
Maybe they would do that.
Re-sign Mariota 1 year, $10 million or something.
Yeah,
$5 million, $8 million.
12. Hell, pay him 12. What difference does it make?
I understand what my game plan would just be. We're playing again on this contract. That's what I would do. What's he going to do? Not show up? He could. I mean, and that would make it weird. But that's what I would do. I would not extend him. And that's what I kind of expect to happen. I will be stunned. Stunned will be strong. I'll be surprised if it gets announced. Derek Carr has, unless he signs a team-friendly deal, which I would say is possible. But like Derek Carr signed a $38 million a year, $128 million guaranteed contract. Would that be surprising to you?
I think surprising is the word. Stunned. I don't think stunned's too strong.
Stunned is too strong.
See, I don't know if it is, because think about it from Josh McDaniel's perspective. Quarterbacks, when it comes time...
Derek is not a top 10 quarterback.
No, but when it comes time to pay a quarterback, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is, are you a franchise quarterback or are you not a franchise quarterback? And that's different than being a top 5 quarterback. Like when Derek signed his deal the last time, $25 million at the time was the highest average annual value for a quarterback at that time, right? Now, 4 years have passed, and now he's like the middle of the pack quarterback money. But to me, Dak is a great example. Kirk Cousins has been a great example. Like when it's time to get paid for a quarterback, they cost what they cost, and there's not a lot of nuance to how much they cost, right? Like Matt Stafford could sign a contract with the Rams this offseason, right? He's gonna.
Yeah, you would think.
If you would give me a number on Stafford's extension, 160?
Yeah, I mean,
160 million?
What's 40 times 4 would be 160. I could see something like he signed a 4-year extension at $170 million with 130 guaranteed. It works out to, whatever, $42 million a year.
Right. And now let's say Kirk Cousins is a free agent. What does he sign for?
Probably not that, but it'd be something higher than what everyone would think.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like quarterback. Like what I'm getting at is the reason that that I don't think your word "stunned" is too strong is that if you're the Raiders, unless he's taking a discount, how much can the price really go up in the sense that it's already going to be really high? Quarterback salaries are just incredibly high. So is Derek going to go win the Super Bowl?
Well,
and then
if I told you
and
this,
then he's going to cost, let's say this. He wins the Super Bowl and then he costs you 170 the year after Stafford gets 160.
Let's say Derek went to them. Yeah. I mean, if Derek went to them right now.
Well, it might cost you 150 now. So
would they do this? I'll sign a 4-year contract, $30 million a year. Guarantee every penny.
Wait, say it again. 4 years, 120 guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's tradable in a year.
Yeah, it's very tradable. But you know how the way the NFL works, unlike the NBA, like it fucks with your cap,
Yeah, I mean that'd be a separate issue. I think they might not do that. I mean, they might not do that because if you're them, you're like,
wouldn't you want to just feel it out? Wouldn't you just want to coach him? I don't think you can trade him just because it could go really bad, and there is some pressure on Josh. Not from Mark necessarily, because I could see Mark being like, do whatever, trade him. I'm cool with that. More on Josh, like having some personal pride of like, I've been waiting a long time to come back. I'm not just going to win 3-4 games my first year and everyone be like, told you, these Belichick guys are all idiots. Because he'll get it, right? If he were to trade him and then they suck and they have no quarterback, it'd be like, you idiot, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, if he gets 2-1s and they tank for who, it's hard to know, But
again, 2-1, so you're trading him to a football team or Tampa. More than likely, that team is not going to suck. So those are 2-1s like in the 20s. Right. Then we've seen it before. They did it with Khalil. Then you got to pick the right guys. It's not just a black and white like 2-1s. Well, yeah, it's sweet when you flip Jamal Adams and you get the 7th pick, but most times it turns into Jimmy Garoppolo Trey Lance. The Dolphins, do you know what they got? 29. They were licking their lips when Jimmy threw those picks against Tennessee. Right? And then it fucking flipped.
Yeah. Next thing you know, there's almost in the Super Bowl. They're better off doing the trade with the Bucs.
My guess is that their goal will be to get played out. Now, Derek can make that weird fast by not.
I just think if you're Josh, I don't think you're trading him now because you need to win, unless you're getting Rodgers. But you need to. Josh did this is his second time around. Like Josh wants to win fast.
If this fails, he's never being a head coach again.
Yeah, so he can't mess around. But Mark might be patient. I mean, Mark will be. Mark doesn't want to be looking for a new coach in 3 years. Josh is going to get plenty of leash.
Yeah.